So yeah, here we are in Winton Lake, which is just outside Normandy in France. We are middle of September. The weather's pretty cold at night, but it's nice during the day. It warms up quite quickly. Well, it does around the rest of the lake. It doesn't here. It's shaded, so it stays cold till about now, which is 12 o'clock. A couple of the lads, there's 7 of us all fishing. A couple of the lads have had fish out overnight. Andy had one in the morning, didn't he? About 7 in the morning.
Yeah.
30 pounders, which is a good start. We only got set up really. I mean, we didn't get set up until about 6 o'clock at night. So really, there was not much chance of us catching anything. So I'm pleased that the guys have caught some, and fingers crossed for us catching. But it's a fantastic place. The facilities are amazing. The views are lovely. It's really quiet. The nearest road is what, 200 yards away.
Yeah.
So you don't get any road noise or anything. So yeah, it's a really nice place. The guys are very organised. As you can see, the swims are mowed everywhere. I mean, the particular one that we're on, which is the point, yeah, it's really well looked after, and it's big. Yeah, so fingers crossed for catching something now. So we'll just have to see how it goes. But
Yeah, so we'll show you some of the equipment that we've got here and a quick look around the swim that we've got on the point here.
Yeah.
And update you as the week progresses.
hopefully with pictures and videos of fish. One of the biggest questions that I think every young angler or even the more advanced anglers that haven't been to France or haven't been abroad, haven't been outside the UK, will always say, oh, do I need to change my rods? Do I need to change my reels? Do you think it would be a good idea to have 20-pound breaking strain line? Or anything different really than you'd use in the UK? And I think the general consensus is no, don't change anything. I would recommend you have 15-pound line and above. Obviously the thicker the line, the more visual it is in the water, so I would personally stick with 15-pound. And there's fish up to 65-pound in here, which is a big fish. It's probably one of the biggest sizes that you'll catch in France anyway. My reels would be exactly what I'd use in the UK. I'm using a boat, so I don't need distance pit reels. If you're using a boat, you won't need distance pit reels. The same setup with your bobbins and your alarms. Obviously, an alarm's an alarm wherever you are. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. And I will just stick with my usual rod pod, unless I'm moving my rods from one place to another. Then I might go on a bank stick. But yeah, exactly the same as the UK.
And how about bait? What sort of bait are you using?
Well, bait and rigs, it's the same situation as the UK. I mean, if you're fishing a really big pit, when there are some huge lakes like Gigantica and what have you, where you need to put in a mass amount of bait to attract a fish because it's so huge. You are trying to pull the fish in shoals towards your bait. We're fishing on an 8 to 10 acre lake, so it's not very big. It's got quite a decent head of fish in it. So small patches of bait, like I would in the UK, put in the right position. I think the emphasis should be on whereabouts you're putting your bait as opposed to how much. I think that's really personal preference in a lake this size. And the same with rigs. Obviously if you're fishing in weed, whatever type of rig works well for you in the UK will serve exactly the same in France. Yeah, and we're testing out at the moment this year the difference between frozen baits and shelf life, which is a question that I've noticed has been up on the internet. No one's really answered. No one's actually ever properly stood one against the other. So it's a real interesting one this year to see. We're fishing shelf lives because dynamite baits make a range which are supposed to be as near as makes no odds exactly the same as their freezer range. So we're testing those on this water to see what kind of reaction we get from a shelf life. So yeah, watch this space. It'll be really interesting to see who catches what on the lake using what bait. We've got almost from the top end to the bottom end on the bait boat side. You don't have to use boats, but we've got a lot of overhead trees here, so casting is a nightmare. It makes sense to use a boat. They're much more accurate. There's not any snags in here. The guys are very, very good. They go through, rake and take everything out that's likely to cause a hazard to fish and for your tackle. But yeah, so we've gone from this one here, which is an Anatech catamaran style boat, which carries quite a lot of bait. And the idea was that this was meant really for somewhere like France, a big lake where you need a lot of bait out, a lot of distance. And then we've got this little one here, is the Lake Reaper, which I use in the UK anyway. And it's a small boat. This one has got a fish finder on it, which is handy for plumbing the depth without having to use marker floats and disturb your swim too much on day one type thing. They are quite accurate, but it's a great little boat. Sometimes you don't want to put out a stack of bait, especially once you've used the bigger one to establish a pile. There's no point just piling bait on bait on bait, otherwise the chance of yours getting picked up is slim. Yeah, so that pretty much is the cheapest boat on the market, brand new. And I can't recommend them enough. I think it's brilliant. The Anatech is a lovely boat, of course, but it's only any use really in big situations with large amounts of baits. But the little Reaper's more than ample. I would recommend, if anybody's coming to France or going to a big pit in England, to go start with a Reaper. It's a great little boat. You don't need always to put that much bait out. Everything.
So both hoppers completely full. So
yeah, in fact, it's one of the small boats in the lake. I think this is probably one of the smallest in the lake. It's got some grunt though, I'll give him that. There's no wind.
you may have to speak up a bit, mate. Oh.
This is where you lose the barbless hooks. It's not good enough yet. Nice. screaming him. I gotcha. Oh, he was nailed. Beautiful. That was a lovely hook hold. I wasn't losing him. 24. I think 24, 25. Obviously, we've got to take off £2 for the. What we got? 25. So that's 23. 23. Whoa. Looked up the pictures.
Right, so I'll sign this one off for a few pickies and then we'll do a rundown afterwards.
And then we'll get her back in. Let me just get a hold. There we go. Yeah, so it's about 12:30, I suppose, when we got the run. 2:30, sorry. Yeah, typically we're breaking up a different swim. I think, I mean, it was on the shelf life. I had a take last night with the shelf life. Unfortunately, it got to the net, and with the barbless rule that we have here, it turned and came off, so I wouldn't show you that. Yeah, it's a lovely fish in lovely condition, great fight, and it was just a bit of a last minute move. We just thought, do you know what, there seems to be a bit of action around the other side. It was a really difficult swim to get into, as you can see, but sometimes just having that bit of insight to do things that are not necessarily easy, it's worthwhile, and yeah, I'm chuffed a bit. So,
And that was on the fish-based shelf life, yeah?
Yeah, yeah. Bizarrely, it was the fishery owner said that fish-based, fish meal-based boilies don't really work. They prefer things that are more sweet. Clearly, it does. So I think it's just anyone's guess really with bait. I think you can be unlucky with a certain type of bait. You know, it's just how it is, isn't it? They like it or they don't.
And there was quite a lot of activity on that line before you got a bite.
Yeah, there was. That's always a worry. So you don't know whether or not there's a big fish down there just knocking your bait around, or whether it's a bream, because it was a lot of just little bleeps over about an hour, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was about an hour. It just sat there bleep, 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 and you keep thinking to yourself, oh my God, is it a bream? You know, is there a few useless fish down there? Because this is the trouble with putting particles in. But yeah, no, it's patience paid off. So
Awesome. Thanks. So this is end of day one. We have got our fire going, which is the highlight of our day so far.
Yeah, let's get some steaks on it.
He's going to go and get some steaks because he's always hungry.
Yes.
So,
yeah, I am today. Yeah, I missed lunch.
And he's also in charge of the fire today because I didn't do a very good job this morning.
Yeah, it is nice to get the fire going. You know you're having some food at some point then.
So we're going to try and keep the fire going for about probably about 5 hours or something like that. We've got a little selection of wood all sorted into its various different different categories. And actually, while we're here, I'll give you a little tour of the campsite. So
yeah, have a look at Camp Mossy.
So we've got Lee's Bivvy over here. I can't show you inside Lee's Bivvy because there's too many ladies trying to get out of there at the moment. So got Lee's swim, some of the bait over there. We've got these what are these called again? What's slings?
Yeah, I think it says it on the side of it. It's just a carp sling.
Carp sling, which are getting far too much use today.
Yeah, that's not been wet yet.
We've unfortunately got the Mavic drying out here, and we've got the food tent
Bait and food.
bait and food, and you'll see all the spam there in the corner, which
That was meant for the fish. It's gone in our breakfast.
actually that was really nice. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, that was nice. Yeah.
So that's that tent. So little overview here. Obviously got the lake. This is all our swim. So another bait boat over here for my swim. I've got some bait over there underneath that overhang. Some ducks, you probably can't see them, but there are some ducks going across there. Nice little view of the lake. So we're just baiting up again in the same location. Lee was just saying that in the last lot there was absolutely no maize at all. And what were you just about to say, Lee?
Yeah, no, I had the maize. I put my hook bait on top of the maize, and the hooks being really sharp as they are. When I last brought one in first thing this morning, it had a piece of maize stuck on the hook. So you're not going to catch a fish if there's a bit of maize stuck on the hook. So using rig foam or putting it in a PVA bag, which is what I've done out there now, that will stop that. But it's a bit of a schoolboy error, really. I should have thought about it, but you know, it's one of those, and you're in a hurry to get your bait out, what have you. So yeah, but I'm not putting any maize in this on purpose. So yeah, it will be interesting to see how we do round here, because it's quiet. You can't see any signs of fish. It was just a hunch, not, you know, we saw fish here yesterday, didn't we?
Yeah.
But not any massive amount. We just got occasional crash, and we thought we'll let that lie, rest that swim for a little while, because we've only just got here, and hit on it today, which we have, and it's paid off. Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see if we get another. So much power, I cannot stop him. I've managed to pull it out of under the tree where there's a snag, and thank God I managed to pull it through the snag. But he's got a lot of strength. Now, you never know what size a fish is, of course. It's on the end of a line, it could be anything. But
Oh, he's coming in, he's coming in.
yeah, but he's not going to be ready. He's going to slap us around the face with his tail. Look at that, look at the wave coming up from his tail.
I'm just going to show the rod.
Oh. My arm's killing me. I'm sure there's commons in here, but whew. What an amazing fight. This guy is not giving up. Look at that. Beautiful.
So what are you thinking? Are you letting him swim around for a little while?
I don't want it to pull out the hook. I don't want the hook to pull out of his mouth. So giving it a little bit of leeway on the spool allows it to go without too much tension on the hook.
Yeah.
Or the line.
Oh my word.
But the minute I get near the top, he sees us in the net. Good God. This is a lot harder fight than the little 20 I just had. God, that hook has done an amazing job. I just pray it doesn't pull, as that's a lot of oomph. Stop already.
Is he easing up? No.
Not really. I would say this is the best fish of the day. Oh, he's got so much power. Look at that, it's still going.
So how does it feel against the other fish that you've had today?
Well, the little 23 fought well, and then it went left and it went right. It tried to find a snag, and that. Oh, I pinged off his fin again. And that's fun. It's exciting. Jesus, but this has got just sheer power. It's not got energy. It's just got the massive tail and huge power. And he's just not giving up. He's still not giving up. Oh. You can see by the bow wave, look.
Yeah.
On the top of the water, and he's quite far down. They're a remarkable species. You can see why people fish for these things. It's just incredible. Oh, come on. Come on. We just want a picture. Come on. Come on. Oh. Oh, Jesus.
We haven't had a decent look at him yet. I mean, any idea of weight?
I don't know. It's tough to tell. I'd say he's upper 20s, but it's difficult until you get him in the net, which he's going in. Yeah. Woo!
Got him!
Holy cow! Can you see the sweat? My God! Let's get you centered, sweetie. Can you read that?
That's 37 pound his reading.
Oh. That's a fish. Woo! It doesn't beat my record, but what a fantastic, amazing fight, and just a beautiful fish. Look at that fish. Look, not a mark on it, and such a fighter. Whoop! She's not done yet. The trip was a little slow. The bailiffs there had been on about the fact that for the last 3 months they'd had high temperatures and no rain, which obviously raises the amount of algae that's in the water and creates a bit of a sickness with the fish. And obviously the biting goes down, and it showed in the catch reports throughout the whole lake for the entire week for everybody that was concerned. The largest amount that was caught was 5 fish by Rob around the other side of the lake, and myself, we tied on that one. Rob had the largest, around about 41 pounds, just shy. I had a couple of 30s, 33s and a 31. But unfortunately, it's just one of those years where we've had unprecedented high temperatures. We had the same in the UK as we did in France, and lack of rain, and it just doesn't do the water any favours with oxygen, etc., etc. But we still had a great time. It was a fantastic week. Can't complain about the company and a beautiful place to be. The weather was magnificent, so can't ask for more in September, really. To summarise on the amount of fish that we had and the sizes, they were all mirrors. We didn't see any commons. I don't think any commons came out around the lake for anyone. Simon might have had one at the beginning of the week. One of the main things that we were looking at when it came to this trip was the bait. We had some shelf life boilies, and the other guys were using frozen, and we just wanted to see whether there would be massive differences in the catch reports. And the interesting thing is that pretty much around the lake was quiet, apart from 2 areas that had lots of fish out, and one was on shelf life and the other was on frozen. So I think the only conclusion you can draw from that is location, and bait really doesn't either make a difference, or the new Dynamite range is just as good in shelf life as it is in frozen. Apart from that, yeah, it was a good week. Enjoyed it.
Hope you enjoyed this video from BATT. If you did, then like or subscribe. We're going to have loads of new content coming up. Remote control cars, motocross bikes, fishing, loads of tech stuff, everything else. So stay tuned for more.